Hello and thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Jurnee Taylor. Now at noon, South Arkansas is still feeling the impacts from this week's ice storm. How Arkansas utility companies are doing in recovery efforts in less than 2 minutes. And in national news.
Is it a weather balloon or a spy device? I'm Willie James Inman on Capitol Hill. I'll have the latest on a flying object that's causing tensions between Beijing and Washington.
Plus, we've waited all year. Grammy weekend is finally here. Just ahead, we share a sneak peek at music's biggest night at 12:20. We've also been waiting all week for this Friday. What a week. Meteorologist Nathan Scott, good afternoon. Please, are we finally turning a corner with all this weather?
Good afternoon, Jurnee. We've been waiting all week for the sun, and that finally has happened across central Arkansas, and we're warming things up. So look at these numbers. It's the warmest day that we've seen so far for the month of February, but we just started the month. But there you see 42 in Little Rock, 39 in Searcy, still chilly, 32 in Jonesboro, 30 in West Memphis, but it's 48 in Texarkana. We've got a little bit of a wind out there, still from the north-northeast, so that does add a bite to the air, especially if you're watching us in Stuttgart, West Memphis, and Jonesboro areas. Look at that. It feels like the low 20s. Everybody else pretty much feeling like the 30s and 40s. Highs today, we're going to see them warm up into the low to mid 40s across the region, low 50s in southwest Arkansas, stuck in the 30s, maybe as close as Searcy, but certainly off to the east, West Memphis, Jonesboro, and Batesville. But look at what you can expect this weekend. Go to the car wash, get that salt and grime off the vehicles. 53 on Saturday with a mixture of sun and clouds. Sunday, a beautiful day to enjoy the outdoors with highs into the low 60s. And those numbers will continue to go up going into Monday. Our next chance of precipitation holds off until Tuesday. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to be in the form of all rain. I'll have more on that potential and have more on when we could reach maybe 70 degrees coming up in my extended forecast.
Thanks, Nathan. Well, after this week's winter weather, power outages are still a serious concern, especially in South Arkansas, where close to 60,000 customers are still in the dark. And you can see here there are about a dozen counties in the orange and red for widespread outages. Jefferson County, more than 12,000 out. And even though we may be out of the woods when it comes to all of this icy weather, this is still a great time to make sure you've got the THV 11 app downloaded. That way you can always get local news and weather alerts and watch our live weather coverage whenever we're on the air. Well, getting back to the power outages, we are now learning that it could be days before everyone has their lights back on. The southern part of the state was hit hard with hours of freezing rain Thursday. This caused trees to snap and limbs to fall on power lines. Even though some have had their power restored, days of waiting for power restoration are ahead for many. Hundreds of line workers are now in South Arkansas working to move trees off of lines to restore power. Rob Rodell with Arkansas Electric Cooperative says 100 extra line workers are assisting C&L Electric Cooperative Corporation.
We've actually had some trucks get stuck as they're out in some of the areas that they can get to. Many of the county roads, as most people in Cleveland and Drew and Lincoln County will tell you, a lot of them have trees on them.
Now, crews are working as fast as they can to clear down power lines, but the blocked roads and downed trees aren't helping their efforts. Rodell says he hopes for power to be restored in these southern parts of the state sooner rather than later, but at this point, there's not an exact time. And Arkansans were not alone. Bitter cold and dangerous weather is also causing temperatures to plunge across much of the country. It's expected to feel like it's below zero for more than 80 million people from Montana to New England. Some areas experiencing feels like temperatures of 50 degrees below zero. With snow in the north and ice in the south, Lilia Luciano shows us how the rest of the country is doing.
For all of us, this will be an inconvenience. If you're staying outside, this is life or death.
In Boston, homeless shelters are full, but no one will be turned away. The polar plunge has begun. The city's expected to see temperatures free fall well below freezing by noon. Some schools made the tough choice to close Friday.
In the dangerous cold, we could get frostbite.
While in western New York, an overnight blast of Arctic air unleashed wind gusts of more than 40 miles an hour and whiteout conditions. The bone-chilling temperatures in the Northeast come as the South begins to feel some relief for the first time in days after temperatures finally rose above freezing. At least 11 people across Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas were killed during the storms, most in car wrecks due to ice-covered roads. And hundreds of thousands of customers across the region are still without power.
We started a fireplace, put some pots on the gas-burning stove, and that's about all we have.
Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Minneapolis.
The South is not out of the woods yet. Some areas could still see some freezing temperatures this weekend. A historic moment on tap for Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Republican congressional leaders announced Thursday that she will be delivering the GOP response after the State of the Union address. Governor Sanders will be the first Arkansan to get that opportunity since Bill Clinton did nearly 4 decades ago in 1985. Meanwhile, Republican attorneys general from 20 states, including right here in Arkansas, are warning 2 large pharmacy chains against mailing abortion pills within their states. State Attorney General Tim Griffin co-signed letters to CVS and Walgreens executives addressing concerns about their plan to ship those pills into certain states.
The Biden administration has encouraged the U.S. Postal Service to ignore Arkansas's prohibition on shipping of abortion pills.
The letters rebuke recent guidance from the Justice Department that concluded federal law did not prohibit the mailing of abortion pills. A spokesperson for Walgreens says its stores are not dispensing the abortion drug at this time, but it intends to become a certified pharmacy for it under the federal program. And happening now, the FBI is searching for a man after agents found multiple explosives in his home this week. This is 31-year-old Neil Ravi Mehta. FBI Little Rock and ATF New Orleans agents searched his home on Tuesday. A statement, the FBI says the explosives found inside his home were rendered safe, but Mehta remains at large. The statement also says he's wanted for unlawful possession of an unregistered destructive device. Investigators say he could be considered armed and dangerous. So if you see him, do not approach him and contact the police. President Biden is hopeful that Congress can work out a deal on police reform. On Thursday, members of the Congressional Black Caucus spoke with the president at the White House. The Democrats say they are ready to work with Republicans on a bill. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott tweeted he wants to find common sense solutions to pass. Well, what to do about a giant balloon seen flying over Montana this week is the latest national security concern for the Biden administration. It's believed to be a Chinese spy balloon, but so far Beijing is not conceding anything. Willie James Inman has the latest from Washington, D.C.
Well, what the heck is that?
People in Montana spotted the giant balloon this week.
And at first I thought it was a star, but I thought that was kind of crazy because it was broad daylight. It was just really crazy to see.
The Pentagon is convinced the flying object is a Chinese spy balloon, seen hovering over a state where the U.S. maintains nuclear missile silos. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs recommended against military action, and the Pentagon decided not to shoot down the balloon because of the danger posed by falling debris.
The balloon is currently traveling at an altitude well above commercial air traffic and does not present a military or physical threat.
Lawmakers also want to know what's going on. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has called for a bipartisan intelligence briefing on the situation. For their part, China now says the balloon is a civilian airship used mainly for meteorological purposes. They claim that with limited steering capability, the winds pushed it off course and they regret it entered U.S. airspace. The balloon is now over the Midwest. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had been expected to visit Beijing this weekend for high-level meetings. The State Department says his trip is postponed. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
Now, U.S.-China relations have deteriorated over trade disputes, Taiwan, and several other issues. Now, when that trip happens, Blinken would be the highest-ranking member of the Biden administration to visit China in an effort to get diplomatic dialogue back on track. Well, it's National Go Red for Women Day. Coming up, more on the annual event that encourages people to wear red in hopes of raising awareness about heart disease and stroke in women. But first, Nathan, what kind of red can I tell everyone to wear today? Heavy coats or light materials?
Depends where you are, Jurnee. If you're to the east of Little Rock, it's much colder. To the west of Little Rock, temperatures are warming up nicely, and it feels good with all that sun. The sun sticks around for the weekend. Along with that, warmer temperatures. I'll have your extended forecast coming up.